So after doing a video yesterday based on concept, hoping that Gen 2 was going to be the next one announced, or at least the next one following the Charizard, the Mewtwo, obviously all of them, and then having Mythical Islands being a big feature of Mew and Celebi, and kind of taking maybe that mini set into more of a mythical zone. Maybe next we see a Jirachi or something like that. But that has been blown completely out of the water. Because if you've not been kind of up to date with the leaks or anybody that is around the scene, if you go over to Twitter, you will see this person, not a leaker. Okay, but this person is known in the kind of hobby to basically get it right. If he says it, he knows it. Like, it's not necessarily a kind of a big brag from him, but he got trading absolutely spot on days before it actually came out about the whole only being able to do up to the 1-star gold. And there's been previous things I've seen from kind of around a lot of the Pokemon scene that he has got right pretty bang on. And that basically means A2, which is the next expansion coming out within the next few days, hopefully, is going to be featuring Gen 4. Now, this is going to be very interesting to see what Pokemon is actually going to come out here. We'll go through the Pokemon kind of Pokedex. Obviously, the 2 packs that are coming out are going to be Dialga and Palkia from his extra. Obviously, we've got when is A2 dropping. He's saying the 30th. So if he's going to be right, then it's definitely going to be interesting. But he is very rarely ever wrong. So I'm going to take this as gospel with him. He doesn't put anything out that isn't true, at least doesn't have a very, very good source for. So then that begs the question of, what does that do for the gen line? What are we going to be seeing that's going to be upgraded in terms of decks? Because I kind of assumed that we'd get maybe like an Umbreon with the new craze, maybe we get a cheeky little bit of Espeon, we then see Typhlosion, Fraligator, but instead we are going to be going for the Gen 4s, which are obviously going to be more based around these Pokemon. So obviously the starting lineup, I can imagine we will see. We've obviously got a Staraptor, maybe could be quite nice when it comes to the Pidgeot. We then look at something like a Luxray, Rampardos, Bastion, could be interesting. It's not necessarily saying every single Pokemon's going to be Gen 4. It's just going to be the focus around it. So I think some of the big ones that we're going to see is a lot of the Dark and maybe even Ghost types that we can kind of go through. Obviously, they're going to have almost a combat. I don't know if they're going and looking at the meta and then maybe releasing stuff based on that, or they're just throwing it out there. But the Dark types are going to be fantastic to combat Mewtwo's deck. We've obviously got then Honchkrow, we've got Mismagius, we then go a bit down to Skuntank, we then also got a Garchomp, which would be incredible, Lucario in for the fighting and steel decks, we then also have a Munchlax that could be interesting to introduce more baby Pokemon. There is a line that I was absolutely loving for this. We've also got the likes of Abomasnow as well, which is brilliant, but it is going to be the Lickitung, the Rhydon, the Magmar, and obviously Electabuzz and Tangela. That's going to be a cracking line, and even Magneton as well. They're the ones that I'm very much excited for, to see where the next stages could be. And even when we look at Togetic as well, we're going to see very, very nice upgrades for them that could transform their kind of deck line into something incredible. Obviously with Magneton, we know he's got a great ability that gives him energy on the bench. The Magnezone could be twice as good as that. We then see the likes of Leafeon, Glaceon. They could still do our Umbreon. It's not saying that this is going to be it. There's going to be no more on it, because obviously they did have multiple different Pokemon in the gens. It's just the focus based around it. We also then have Mamoswine, which will be interesting. Gallade. Then obviously we go into the triple. Whether these could be potentially in the mini set, because I imagine what they're going to do is have almost an A1 expansion, then an A1B, then an A2, and then an A2B. Whether that's going to be the main focus for the mythical side of it, I think that would be really cool to have almost the gen set and legendaries in the actual expansion, and then the mythical side of it is the mini set. Whether that's forever or not, but that would be interesting. Some of the legendaries we've got, obviously Giratina is going to be a big focus on here. Dialga, Palkia are going to be interesting. You have then got the likes of Heatran, Regigigas, Cresselia, Darkrai. Whether they give us an Arceus, I think that could be potentially going into a more mini set. And then the likes of Shaman as well in both different forms. Perfect. I think this set is not necessarily the worst in the world. You definitely could have, even Porygon Z actually as well. You could have obviously gone and followed the gen section, but then I think what you kind of doing there is you're focusing then on more of the line of lineage of kind of like when they came out, rather than necessarily what we could need. If we look at Gen 2, it was a lot of new Pokemon again, rather than additional Pokemon added in. With the Gen 4, I've kind of looked through it and thought, actually, we are getting a nice kind of few decent Pokemon that kind of coming into here that will be brand new to the cards, but then also some that will be the evolution factor, which I think is the big thing with this set. So it will be interesting to see. Obviously, there is a few baby Pokemon that could have some nice abilities. Whether they do, I don't know. This will be all speculation, but if he is right, we should know by 7 days from today. More than likely within the next couple of days, maybe even on the weekend, we might see a trailer for it, but it will be interesting. Let me know though, what's your favorite Gen 4? I'd be very interested to hear, and hopefully we do get some new cards very, very soon. Peace.